Howdy, readers. I'm Jason, and this is Chapter and Verse. So, you're going to have to forgive me. I'm going to be looking down at my crocheting a bit while I'm talking with you. But, Kelly and I just finished watching part one of the new PBS masterpiece, Little Women. And so I wanted to, to share my thoughts with you, kind of get them down for posterity's sake. On the whole, I was reasonably impressed with this part one. I can already tell you that I don't think it holds a candle to the 1994 film with Winona Ryder. But on the whole, it was quite good. Not from the very beginning. From the very beginning, I was quite nervous. The very first thing we see in the film are the bare feet of the March girls and their undergarments being shed, and the sounds of giggling, and Joe coming into the room, and everybody's got this mischievous look on their face, and I did not like that scene at all. It just struck the wrong tone, I thought, for Little Women. It felt a little more like The Little Hours, actually, which was a film that came out last year, and it was this crazy comedy set in I think Italy in the Middle Ages, and it took place in a nunnery and had all these very sexy kind of overtones to it. And anyway, so the very beginning of Little Women tonight felt more like a kind of lesbian sleepover than Little Women. But from there, it improved. I thought the opening titles were really, really nice. I'm a real sucker for opening titles, actually, when it comes to these masterpiece productions. Often they're really, really good. The Sense and Sensibility that came out about 10 years ago with, who was in that? Dan Stevens was in that. I can't remember the name of the actress now who played Eleanor. Anyway, she had a little teeny tiny part in The Golden Compass as well. But anyway, that's Sense and Sensibility. I thought the opening titles in that were gorgeous. In fact, that theme music, I wish I could get that theme music as a ringtone on my phone. But anyhow, so the opening titles of Little Women were quite good. I thought Emily Watson, who has long been a favorite actress of mine, particularly her performance in Hillary and Jackie, which came out in 1998, if memory serves. I thought she was wonderful as Marmee, and I thought actually the screenwriter, I don't know who wrote this new adaptation, but I thought the screenwriter did maybe the best job adapting Marmee of any of the characters, actually. She seemed to be less kind of didactic, right? Not everything was a lesson, as it is in the book, and as it is, frankly, even in the 1994 film. She seemed to have more of a kind of a steel spine. It was something kind of rough and bold, I felt like, about Emily Watson's Marmee. The guy who's playing Laurie in the film, I don't know who he is. I've never seen him before. I thought he was quite good in the scenes where it was just him and Joe in the garret, and she's writing, and he's kind of keeping her company. But in every other scene he was in, just did not find him persuasive. I did not find his line readings persuasive. Just not a great performance. Maybe not a bad performance. The jury's still out on the guy who's playing Laurie. But there were there's just some strange decisions that they made in this adaptation that I just can't quite account for. I don't understand why they had one actress play Amy in her youth or I said, what's a better way of saying this? I don't understand why they pulled Amy's age forward. Okay, so she's still the youngest, but there's no clear age gap between her and her other sisters. In fact, all four of the women playing the March sisters in this look like they've got about 4 months age gap between them. So that would make their succession of births rather unparalleled. And Marmee kind of a superhero for the 19th century, or for any age, frankly. But I don't know why they did that. Why they made Amy more kind of equivalent in years to the other girls. I think what it does, which is unfortunate, is I think it makes her behavior. So, for instance, when she burns Joe's manuscript, I think it makes her behavior less childish and petulant and more kind of catty, which again strikes the wrong tone. This is not a 1980s film about four sisters who hang out in the mall together. So yeah, and my wife pointed out, as we were talking about it afterward, that when Amy is burning the manuscript, she's really burning it 1 or 2 pages at a time. Like, she seems to be enjoying it. She seems to be taking real relish in it, and which is fine, I suppose, if they're gonna paint the scene that way. But when Joe and Meg return home from the theater, and Joe has brought a present of some sweets or candies for Amy as a way of saying sorry, Amy seems, and this is before they've discovered that the manuscript has been burnt, Amy seems really contrite. And I don't think that she would have been contrite or felt guilty about having burned that book if she was taking relish in burning the book. So I just felt like there were some misjudgments, maybe. Some bad decision making on the part of the director in how these actresses were going to tackle these parts. So there's that, right? So I don't understand why they all seem like they're quadruplets or something. That just is odd to me. But and then there was one strange musical decision. I think it was a scene where they were kind of having a snowball fight or making snow angels. It was right after we first see Joe in Aunt March's house, and Joe has that crazy parrot on her shoulder. But anyway, it moves right from that scene into this kind of rambunctious scene outside. And the score, I thought the musical score was fine through the whole thing, except in that scene, it felt like all of a sudden I was at a Dave Matthews concert or something. So I'm not sure what that was all about. So there were just these jarring little details that just didn't quite work. And what's upsetting about that, or maybe upsetting is too strong a word, what's irritating about that is that there's no reason why it shouldn't work, right? I mean, this is a proven story. It has had other really fine adaptations. And so I was really hoping that this might even outstrip the 1994 Little Women, because there's no reason why it shouldn't, okay? We can look at the 1995 Sense and Sensibility that Ang Lee directed with Emma Thompson and Kate Winslet and Alan Rickman and Hugh Grant. And it's a terrific film. I love that film, right? It won the Best Picture Golden Globe Award. It was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. And as much as I love it, right, when that 2008 or 2009 masterpiece version of Sense and Sensibility came out that I mentioned earlier, I think that's a better film. I prefer that more recent one that was made for television. So it's possible, right? There's no reason why this couldn't have been even better than Gillian Armstrong's film, which is one of my favorite films of all time. But even though we're only a third of the way into it, apparently part 2 next week is going to be 2 hours. Tonight it was just 1 hour. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. The last 2 hours of the film would have to be sort of wall-to-wall extraordinary for it to be a better treatment of Louisa May Alcott's novel. But there were some things I really liked in this one. I loved that they included that scene that I talked about a week ago in my wrap up, where Joe and Marmee are talking about Joe's temper. And Joe thinks that she's really the only one who feels that way, the only one who has this rage inside her that she can't keep in check. And then Marmee reveals that no, she's not alone in that she has dealt with it her whole life as well. She deals with it on a daily basis. I loved that scene in the book, and I was really glad to see it folded into the movie, into this new film. But anyway, so those are my initial thoughts on the first third of the new PBS Little Women. I thought crocheting would be, just the ticket, since there's a lot of knitting and crocheting activities in Little Women. I thought, well, this will maybe be the first time I break out the yarn on my BookTube channel. So anyway, there's that. I will see you guys here in a couple of days with my buddy read video. And until then, have a good week, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye.